If you're a parent of a teenage child who's been diagnosed with functional neurological disorder, short for FND, and also has autism, then you're in the right place. Today, I'm going to talk about this research article that came in, not like right now, but in 2023, so it's relatively new, where these researchers actually looked at the difference and the similarity between the autism and FND patient populations. So let's dive in. Hi, my name is Dr. Lee. I'm a pediatric health psychologist and the founder of Teen FND Academy, which is an online group coaching program to help teens with FND and their parents like you to learn the practical skills and strategies to happily resolve FND so then they get their lives back. I have helped hundreds of teens with FND literally regain their life, and every single week I am getting these wins from these teens who are in my program, like being able to drive again and being able to go to school again, going back to playing lacrosse and riding bicycle and just going on a family trip without worrying about FND symptoms. So if this is a mission for you to help your teen get better and be done with FND, subscribe and hit the like button, and then share this video with everybody on the planet that you know, because that is going to help increase the awareness of teen FND, but generally speaking FND, so then there are going to be more people wanting to help people like you. So today's video is literally that, research studies. So this is not the study I have done, but I have come across with this study and I was like, oh, this is actually interesting. So it's a study done in the UK, and unfortunately, this is for adult with FND. However, they actually cite one study that looked at childhood autism as well. So I'm going to cover that too. All right. So let's dive in. So they actually looked at 91 patients who are going to this program for FND. It's actually FND 5-week outpatient program. So everybody who participated in this particular research study, the 91 of them, has FND, and they went to this program to get their lives back in whatever shape or form. They actually completed this self-report on so many different things, and one of which that caught my interest were actually two things, but one of which was, of the 91 people, is anyone actually has autism or has autistic traits? All right. So they were not able to officially diagnose these people with autism, but they actually had these people fill out this survey. And it's a 10 question. It's called AQ10. Sounds like a CoQ10, but it's AQ10. It's a 10-item autism spectrum quotient. So basically the survey asking, do you have this? Do you have that? You know, that kind of thing. And if they scored high enough, then we could say, this person is likely to have autistic trait. And then when they say trait, that means they have a tendency, maybe, you know, they have it, but they don't have the official diagnosis. All right. So that's the difference between two. So are you curious? Of the 91 people who did this survey, guess what? Whopping 39 patients. So that's a 40%, almost half, not quite, but 40% of the people who circled the survey of this, not CoQ10, but AQ10 for autism, actually scored positive, meaning, wow, you're more likely to have the autistic trait. That, again, they're not diagnosing with autism, but yeah, you have those autistic traits. So that was 40% of the 91 people who completed the survey. But guess what? Those 40% of the people who scored pretty high on this autistic trait, AQ10 positive, guess what else they scored high on? They scored high on not only that, but depression, generalized anxiety, social phobia, ADHD, dyslexia, and this thing called alexithymia, which sounds like Alexa, but it's not. Alexithymia, maybe it is similar, but alexithymia is also a trait. It's not a diagnosis. It's a trait where people have difficulty basically saying how they're feeling. You know, it's not that they're experiencing certain emotions, but they don't want to say it, but they just legit cannot tell how they're feeling. So if your teen has this experience and then you're noticing, whoa, dude, you look upset or you look sad or whatever, and then your teen goes, I don't know, what are you talking about? You know, kind of thing. Well, maybe your teen doesn't want to share, but there is also a possibility that your child might have this trait of alexithymia. Sounds like Alexa 2.0, alexithymia. So having a hard time identifying and describing how they're feeling. And so I thought it was really interesting because why? Because I hear from a lot of teens and the parents, whenever they have this diagnosis of FND, they also have something else. And I'm not saying everyone that I work with who has FND had autism or Alexa 2.0, alexithymia. Not saying that, but there's a pretty crossover, like high level of crossover with FND and something else, including autism, ADHD, sensory processing disorder, depression, anxiety, and all kinds of things, POTS, EDS. And I have the videos talking about how they're, related and then how they are different. And so this was another study basically showing, oh yeah, there's a pretty strong connection between autism and an FND. They're not saying, and I'm not saying that either, everyone who has autism automatically has FND or vice versa. Like everybody who has FND has autism, but 40% is pretty high probability, right? And remember I said I'm also going to talk about the other study that they cited, why they are basically decided to do this study, is that this is a study from 2021 that this one study looked at odds ratio of childhood diagnosis of autism in adults. And so what that means is that they checked, hey, you're an adult, but when you were a kid, did you have diagnosis of autism? And for those people who had autism diagnosis when they were a kid, when they became adult, they were, guess what, 5.9 times more likely, 5.9, so almost 6 times more likelihood of also having dissociative convergent disorder, which is like really old name for FND. So there is a connection between autism and FND. Now, again, to be clear, not everybody who has autism will be having FND, but there's a pretty good chance because they also compare the adults who didn't have diagnosed with autism when they were a kid. Their rate of getting FND was much, much lower, according to this study that's citing the older study. So something to think about, right? So what does that mean? Because there is a lot of crossover, I use this analogy of a tree. It's almost like your child is a giant tree, right? And then growing. And then a tree has like so many different branches coming out. One branch might be FND, right? Another branch might be autism. Another one would be anxiety. Another one would be ADHD, depression, dyslexia, Alexa 2.0, all of these things, right? And if you as a parent and also teen at the same time are just chasing after each and individual branch like a completely different entity, which unfortunately is how the current or common or conventional medical sick care system is basically about, right? So they have all kinds of departments, right? Neurology, urology, GI, pulmonary, endocrinology, all of these things, right? So that's why it's really hard for those conventional medical model system to treat FND like anything else, because FND is a systemic kind of biopsychosocial cross-wired problem and a communication network problem between the brain and the body, right? So that's why it gets really tiring and overwhelming for parents and teens to just go to see 30 different doctors for one individual thing. So what am I saying that? What is really missing, it sounds like, with many parents that I talk to and the families, the teens, they're literally lacking clear, reliable, concrete path to help the teen to tackle many things as much as possible in one sort of strategy. Like in a tree example, instead of duct taping this leaf over here and then watering this particular kind of pH water on this branch and then, like fertilizing that branch, oh my gosh, this is so sort of like insane, right? What do? Focus on the root, right? Like getting the root, really getting foundation, strong by watering the tree, not just like one single branch, right? And having a good sun and fertilizing and a good environment, temperature, stuff like that. So those are the things that you can work on to really focus on one giant tree, including those branches. So I'm not saying autism is a type of FND or ADHD is a type of FND. They're 3 different diagnoses, right? So I'm not saying, oh yeah, they're all in one, kind of thing. But really, it's important for you to know who is helping you to literally orchestrate this whole different parts of things that's going on with clear, reliable, and concrete paths. So Teen FND Academy is one of those paths that I have created, and it's been proven to be really, really helpful. Like so many teens in my program sharing all the kinds of wins literally each and every week, if not every single day. And I'm so proud of these people. And I'm like, I get to brag about them, all the time, right? Because I really care so much about them. And I also brag about their parents too, because they are working really, really hard. And so if you and your teen are ready, so sick and tired of feeling this way because of FND, among other things, and really be done, with that condition through a reliable, clear, and concrete pathway, and with like my help doing that to achieve the goal that you want, then click the link below and apply for my program and then see if you qualify. I literally review every single application that comes through my program. So I am very serious about who is a good fit versus not. So if you are ready though to work with me, feel free to apply. The application is available 24/7 pretty much on my website, or you can stay on my YouTube channel and watch so many other helpful tips and tools, including all the case studies that I have interviewed with the current and the graduates of my program, Teen FND Academy, and see for yourself. Well, thank you so much for watching this video, and I will see you in the next video.